All right. Hip, adductor, all the good stuff. Round number 2. You're gonna start with your feet hips distance apart. Toes pointing straight ahead. You're just gonna go side to side and really kind of hit that end point. Take your time with it. So we're just kind of testing the end points of range of motion here. We're gonna go forward and back. So you're gonna send your hips back. You're gonna press forward. When you come forward, engage those glutes just a bit. Open up the front of those hips. Of course we're breathing with it, yeah? Hugely important. We're gonna take some rotation. Feet haven't moved. Feet haven't moved. Notice if they want to adjust here to kind of create range of motion, don't cheat it. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn our toes open. So we're going to start side to side, feet turn open. We're going to go forward and back. It's a little awkward, I know. And then we're going to do rotation. So you're going on one side, watch the knees. Don't go so far that you feel the knee is getting pulled in the wrong direction. So that we're getting this sort of wrapping open, yeah? So move as slowly as you need to. Just notice which side feels tighter. We're gonna do all that with our feet turned in, so we go side to side. And we go forward and back. We go rotation. I always slow down on this rotation because it's a little trickier than the other 2 movements. Keep those feet rooted. Two more, each way. Good, take the feet out wide. You're gonna sink, pulse, sink. A little dynamic movement here. Good, we're gonna take it over, we're gonna hold it. We're gonna try and stay low. Bend both knees, take it to the other side. We stay low. Good, we're gonna bring it around. Put this knee down. So I have right foot forward, left foot back, it doesn't matter. Unless you want me to follow, you want to follow along with me exactly. So I'm gonna reach, it's probably helpful actually. You're gonna take your left hand, you're gonna reach it across. Your right hand comes up, you take a side bend, you bring it back, you shift forward. Left arm goes across, right arm comes overhead, bring it back. Shift, reach, kind of send that right hip over to the right. Bring it back, come back through center. Yeah, so this glute on the back leg is helping to stabilize. Front foot helping to stabilize. Again. Last 2 right here. One more. Beautiful. Pause, come forward. Shift back. Come forward. Shift back. directions. Now we're kind of getting that hamstring to respond at least a little bit. Good. I'm going to switch sides. Stabilize. So, we reach across. Is that right? No, across. I was like, what am I doing here? Right arm across, left arm over. Sink out into that hip. If it's confusing for me, the one that's trying to get it across, it's going to be confusing for you, right? But this arm comes across, we reach over and away. Yeah. I can check myself. Down, stop. I had a momentary lapse there. We'll do a couple extras. One more. Good, you're gonna bring it forward. Bring it back. Take it forward. Bring it back. Good, two more. And again, just noticing from one side to the other how this feels. Good, bring both legs back. Okay. So same thing you did standing, shorter lever, hips go side to side. You're gonna drop the hips back. This time really kind of send your hips to your heels and then drive up and forward. Send it back, up and forward. So progression here, I'm gonna slide completely on my mat here. Progression here, you don't have to get to it today, but maybe you sit back, you reach down for your heels, you start to send forward. And then if that's the case, you really kind of slow it down. One more. Perfect. That might not come right away. All right, I got left leg out, right knee is down. Sink, reach, bring it back up. Sink, reach, bring it back up. So you might start to take this a little bit longer in the stance and then maybe start to straighten when you come back up. Sink, reach. And so like, you might not. Good, keep this inner thigh nice and long. So watch that this knee is not collapsing inward. One more. Hold it. Sink a little deeper. Push into that left foot. Come back up, bring the knee down. Take the other foot out. So start with a kind of like a narrower stance so that you can just kind of get into it and feel how it feels. You can start to adjust it. And then if and when your body feels good to go a little deeper, then maybe start to walk this foot out a little bit more, and then maybe start to straighten the leg as you come up. I'm using this hand as a driver. Yeah, so I'm not forcing my body into this, but I'm continuing the movement and encouraging a little more sink. Yeah. So it's like a guide. Let's go knees down. We're gonna sink back, come across, rotate, sink back, rotate. I don't know which side I started on. Let's go 2 more. Good. Feet come under you. Come here. Open up the knees, give it a pause. All right, so mobility is important in transitions. And teaching our body to be strong during transition is going to help with mobility. So we're going to bring the knee down. We're going to shift it back. Shift it forward. Pick up the knee. Knee down. So we've done everything you need to do this. There is absolutely no rush here. We're going to add on to it. We're adding that rotation. And we just start to see, does that rotation start to open up more? And maybe each one gets a little deeper, or you're spotting kind of a little further around. On this transition right here, knees open. Knees open. Yes, yes. Last one right here. And perfect. All right, lie down. So yes, that should feel like a little bit of work. Dynamic mobility. Hug your right knee into your chest. Put your left foot down. You're going to keep this knee pulling in. Keep the knee pulling in. You're going to push down, lift up, release it down. Knee stays hugged in. We're single leg bridging here. So building up the strength of the glutes. Also, synergistically, opening up the front of that hip that's bridging. Last one. Beautiful. Put your foot down. Switch sides, hug that knee in. And you're not just holding the knee up, like holding it in place. You're actually hugging it in. You're really pulling it in. So we're removing this leg, and this position helps to keep the tailbone long. It really starts to isolate the glute as opposed to getting into the back. So keep hugging that knee in. Don't lose that. Let's go. Lift up. As you're here, as much as you're hugging in, you're pushing the knee and the shin away. So there's a bit of an isometric in this leg that's lifted up. You're rooting the foot down, you're balancing the weight in the foot. Notice if you're on the pinky side, if you're on the big toe side, try to stay connected to both. We've got 3 more, let's go. Beautiful, bring the feet down. Bring the soles of the feet together. So this is a progression from our first video, adductor video. You're gonna keep your feet down Your knees are open. Just give yourself a pause here. Nice and passive. Let the fronts of the hips open. Let from inner groin to inner knee lengthen. For me, my right leg just hovers higher. Just notice what's happening here. You can kind of just rock a little side to side. Get a sense of it. Don't force the one side to go down and match the other side. It's not going to happen, so don't do it. Instead, center. So our adductors are a major stabilizer of our core. It's almost like we should consider them part of our core. They work with our glutes to stabilize. So we're lengthening them here in the hopes of kind of removing them from doing too much work. Okay, so now we're going to press down to the pinky side of the feet, lift the hips up. So we did this before. You're going to rock one side, you're going to rock second side, you're going to come to center, slowly bring the knees in a bit, open back out, release it down. Pause, reset. I tend to want to arch here, check your spine. You're going to lift up. You're going to go to one side. You're going to go to the other side. You're going to center. Knees pull in, knees open out. You release it down. Reset. Lift up. Drop one way. Drop the other way. Come back to center. Your knees don't come all the way in necessarily. They come back open. You release down with control. Good. Lift up. Rock side. Rock side. Stabilize center. Knees come up. Open out. Release it down. We just have two more of these. Just two more. Push down, lift up. Take it side. Take it side. Stabilize center. Knees pull in. Knees open out. Now see how far you can open the knees here before you drop down slowly. Really good. This is your last one. Push down, rise up. Tailbone long. Take it to the side. Take it to the other side. Come through center. Squeeze the knees in, any amount. Open back out. Now pause. Can you take the knees out any wider? And then release it down. Really good. Left foot flat on the floor. Right leg comes up. Bring your right foot as high up into the hip crease as you can, and then let this knee open out. Push the pinky side of your foot against the leg so that you're not turning the bottom of the right foot to the sky. Instead, you're turning the bottom of the foot toward the hip bone. And you can stabilize. You can hold it with your hand, and then start to, again, move that knee away. Keep the legs like this. Just rock everything over to the left, well, everything from the belly button down. Put the right foot on the floor as best you can. And then gently move that right knee away from your chest. So in this transition, maybe catch hold of the foot again. Drop back into the thigh, come back up to center. Open the knee just a smidge more, and then we release it gently. Right foot flat, left leg comes up. We bring the foot up into the crease of the hip, or close to that, whatever you can get. And then watch the ankle. So you're pushing the pinky side of the foot into the thigh, as opposed to turning the foot toward your face, you're turning the foot down toward the hip. Good. So that your ankle stays neutral. So if the hips don't want to open here, we're really good compensators. The ankle's going to stretch instead. We're not looking for an ankle stretch here. So keep the ankle neutral. If that means that you have to put your hand on there to know what that is, do that. And then slowly push that knee out. And this isn't like pigeon or thread the needle where you feel like that really deep, intense external rotation. This is a little different. If you take your free hand, your left hand over to your left hip, you might feel the outer left hip, like a little bit of contraction there, like the side of the hip, which would be like tensor fasciae latae or medial glute. So we're just kind of getting into the hip here. I don't want to say we're like, it's not going to be a massive stretch. We are trying to lengthen from the inner thigh to the outer knee. Push Push open just a smidge more, check into that ankle, and then everything's gonna come over to the right. And you're gonna see if you can get that foot down on the ground and then gently move that knee away. So now you might feel a little more on that hip. Good, to make the transition back, pull that foot in, come back through center, and then release it. Hug the knees in, rock up to seated. All right, soles of the feet together. Ponytail adjustment. Soles of the feet together. Elbows come into your calves. Hold your feet. Push your knees into your arms. I'm pushing out and I'm pushing in. So we've got this sort of battle at play between the arms and the legs. Nobody's gonna win because we're just gonna find the middle ground. Take an inhale, and then exhale, just release it. Sit up tall. Take the knees as wide as you can. And you're not going like 100%. You're going like 60%. Come back up. Hug in. And then release it out. Knees open as much as you can. Stretch the knees, not just down, but out. So that idea of lengthening from inner groin to inner knee. Send the knees away from you. Whoosh. Yeah. One more time, squeezing in. And then actively open. Good, keep this, bring your hands behind. So fingertips point toward your hips. You're just gonna lift up, maybe get your hips up off the ground, maybe not. And then release it down and come forward. Do that again, hands come back behind. Lifting up. Release it down and then forward. One more time, lift. Release and forward. Really good. Bring the knees back up. One of my favorites, internal, external rotation. Just going side to side. Squeeze that glute to come around. Bring it back. So, progression on this is we start to lose the hands from the ground. We start to control it. I'm going to scoot back a little more so I can offer up another progression. And it might not happen right away. We shift forward. You lift up. You come back down. You bring it around. So there's a little shift here. Push down, lift up, bring it around. We'll do it a few more times, with or without the progression, it's your call. So this is meant to be done a number of times, this whole sequence. So it might not happen today. These are the kind of things that are really good to revisit because you'll start to notice changes that come and things that maybe were challenging become easier, right? Come back onto your back. We just finished here. Feet are wide, knees into each other. Give yourself a little pause here. Breathe. And then walk the feet in toward each other, but then walk them away from your hips. So a much longer stance than what we would normally do. Turn the feet, the knees open. So it's like a really long Baddha Konasana with the feet slightly apart. So it's not Baddha Konasana at all, or butterfly, or whatever you want to call it. And just release that. Take a few breaths here. song is cracking me up. I know this isn't my playlist. I just pulled up something for some background noise. Feels very victorious here at the end. Release both legs all the way out straight. Give that a pause. And then one foot at a time. Turn the foot in to let the hip follow, and then bring it back. And then the other foot initiates, goes up the lower leg into the thigh, into the femur, and back. And now maybe start to push the one leg in external rotation as this one moves into internal rotation. So if you notice, we did very few static stretches today, very few long holds. Of course, you're welcome to add that here at the end, but we're really working mobility, which a lot of the time is based on dynamic movement with control. Kind of pushing our end ranges just a bit. That's your last one. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock up. That's it. You're done. I hope it goes well.